Hello, and welcome back to Financially Speaking. My name is Logan Waller from Bushka Wealth Management and Bushka Retirement Solutions. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 715-355-4445 or visit us online at our website, retirewithbushka.com. And while at our website, click on the radio page to check out our past shows and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. If you've been considering and keeping an eye on the markets or your retirement accounts lately, you already know 2025 has been a roller coaster year. Whether you're still earning a paycheck or you've already hung it up and started enjoying retirement, the ups and downs can feel relentless. So, how do you protect what you've worked so hard for and built all these years? How do you stay focused on growing and preserving your nest egg? And when the financial landscape seems to be shifting beneath your feet, what do you do? Today, we're going to talk about some smart, practical moves you can make right now to potentially help strengthen your retirement savings and keep your plan on track. But before we buckle up for that ride, let me welcome my co-host, a guy who says the only roller coaster he enjoys is the one that ends at the funnel cake stand. Tony Shore, how you doing today?
When I get off that roller coaster at the theme park or Disney World, I want the exit, walk out the exit right across the path to the funnel cake stand or pizza. Pizza or funnel cake, whatever, depends on the day. But no, that's absolutely true. And my heart rate, I like my heart rate steady, and my finances even steadier. But you're right. We had April, which was a wild ride. We saw a 20% drop in April, and then we've hit record highs since then with the markets. And then we've had other things, tariff concerns are still ongoing. What's going to happen there? Mm-hmm. And then, everything else that we've been through as of late. And now we have the government shutdown. So I know a lot of people are feeling uneasy about what comes next. If you watch the news, the sky is always falling, it seems.
This is true.
So I'm glad we're tackling this today, going to provide some calm, sound advice, hopefully, right? And yes. Everybody wants to know how to potentially protect their savings from risks that we face today. So, but first, how have you been? What's going on over there?
I've been good. I'm catching a little cold here as we have the changing seasons. I think I spent too much time outside trying to rake up the leaves so the city can come pick them up. So
that'll do it.
Caught a little cold from it, but life is good. Just getting ready for the cold weather.
Yeah, I know. How about you? You've really grown the beard in, the facial hair that's coming. You're looking more and more like a lumberjack every day. If you need to borrow a razor, I've got one on.
Well, I take that as a compliment being here in central Wisconsin. I'm like the Paul Bunyan guy. Thank you.
Yeah, you look like Paul. You look more and more like Paul Bunyan every time I see you. But hey, you look good though. You got a winter beard, but you keep it nicely groomed. And unlike some other people, I won't name names, Zach, but there are other people that you work with there. How about that guy's beard, right?
He's got quite the beard. Quite the beard.
He does. He reminds me of that guy from ZZ Top, those guys.
Sure.
He's got the ZZ Top beard. I absolutely love that. So, where do you want to start with how to protect our retirement savings?
Yeah, I think a good place to start is with an article from Kiplinger. Can't even pronounce the name here. I'm flustered after you complimented me on my beard here.
Kiplingers.
But the article that we're going to be referencing is titled 6 Steps to Protect Your Retirement Savings. This has been one of those years, as we mentioned before, where you find a headline to support almost any opinion about the economy right now. One day, as you mentioned, inflation seems under control. The next day, reports suggest it's creeping back up. Tariffs are on, off, higher, lower. It can really make your head spin trying to follow all these updates from the current administration and just the market and the economy. And that's the really how the stock market works too. We watch stocks nosedive in April, only to climb right back up with record highs a few months later, as you mentioned. So even the experts can't seem to agree on whether we're headed toward a recession or dodging one entirely. So that's I guess the good starting point here.
Yeah, well, and for the average person trying to plan out their retirement, Logan, I think It's a confusing mix of signals, so it's no wonder people may feel uneasy about their long-term financial picture, right?
Exactly. A recent survey from Allianz for lifetime income noted in their article and found that more than half of people between age 45 and 75 are worried about outliving their money in retirement. And that's a noticeable increase from last year. And almost half of pre retirees and retirees say that they're already taking action, postponing retirement, trimming expenses, and rethinking their investment strategies.
So, even though the usual advice is stay the course, it sounds like people are realizing that, hey, sometimes the course needs a little adjusting itself, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Staying the course doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means making sure your plan still fits the current environment.
right.
Life happens. We need to change the strategies when life changes. So, making sure you're reviewing your retirement strategy and your portfolio on a regular basis can help you stay proactive instead of reactive. Small adjustments can have a big impact or, a little one too. But when you build in certain protections and think about plan A, B, C, D, that can really help shield part of your savings from that market volatility, that roller coaster, those peaks and valleys we talk about. You're not depending on Wall Street or the economy to have your successful retirement if you plan accordingly.
Yeah, and that's a great point. It's easy to feel like everything's out of control because of interest rates, inflation, global politics, the government shutdown. But there are things we can control, correct?
Bingo, you hit it on the head. You can't control the Fed, you can't control the president or what happens overseas, but you can control your own strategy. What I mean by that is how much risk you're taking in your portfolio, how much you're spending, and how you prepare for life's what ifs, those roller coaster moments. That's not just good for your bottom line, but it also can help your peace of mind, the emotional side, the behavioral finance. Having a plan in place reduces stress because you know you're not at the mercy of every single headline the news puts out.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's say somebody out there is feeling nervous about all of this and they're worried about upcoming market uncertainty or any of the many things we talked about. What's the first step toward protecting themselves?
Yeah, really the first, if I could call it the line of defense, is super simple, but can be very, very powerful. And it's that simple that it's just building a cash buffer. We
Hmm.
call it a emergency fund or the emergency net, right? So thinking of that as your personal runaway of accessible assets that can cover your expenses if trouble hits. Safety net again. If the economy slows down and we see layoffs or a market downturn, that cash gives you breathing room so you're not forced to pull money out of your retirement accounts at the worst possible time and locking in those losses. One risk, especially for people still working, is an unexpected job loss that lasts longer than expected. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, data cited in the article, workers between 55 and 64 are averaging about 26 weeks to find a new job after being laid off. For those 65 and older, it can take upwards of 32 weeks, and that number tends to rise during recessions.
Hmm. So without that cushion, then you could end up tapping out your 401k early or taking on debt just to try to get by.
Exactly. Exactly. The article continues to talk about and explains that Vanguard found that 4.8% of 401k participants took hardship withdrawals last year, nearly triple the rate from just a few years ago. And that was in a strong economy. If you're within 5 to 10 years of retirement or newly retired, the bigger threat can be a market slump early in retirement. A Morningstar study showed that retirees who experienced losses in the first 5 years of withdrawals are far more likely to run out of money later on.
Hmm.
That's why the article really suggests holding about 2 years of spending needs in cash and around another 5 to 8 years in fixed income investments. That combination can keep your strategy steady through market storms and keep your stress level in check too.
Well, once somebody's built up that cash buffer that you've been talking about, what's the next step?
So after that, the next move is to take a close look at your investment mix and maybe make a few small adjustments there. I always tell clients You don't need to overhaul everything and change everything up. Sometimes just tweaking the balance between investments can make a huge difference in how long your savings lasts.
Well, and it's not about making huge changes, though, right?
Correct. Big heroic gestures almost never work out well. The key is to build a durable plan that fits your goals, wants, needs, and interests, and then make small, periodic adjustments to keep things on track. That way, you don't have to react to every new headline or market move that comes along. So we call those the headline investors, right? So they see something on the news and they're immediately taking action on it, which isn't
Right.
always the best way to do
Kind
it.
of emotional or knee jerk reactions.
Exactly, exactly. So a perfect example, if you haven't rebalanced your portfolio in a while, now would be a good time to do that. Stocks have had a huge run, not just this year, but for pretty much the past decade outside of 2022. And that probably means your mix has shifted along with you getting older. Christine Benz from Morningstar found that if you started 10 years ago with 60% stocks and 40% bonds and you didn't touch it, your portfolio would now be about 81% stocks. That can be a lot more risk than most people want to tolerate or even realize they're doing.
So you do have to make adjustments along the way because something like that could become a real problem if you're close to retirement and have too large of a percentage all at risk, right?
Absolutely. The 5 to 10 years before or after you retire can be critical. That's when a major market downturn can really, really hurt because you're starting to rely on your savings for income. A mistake I see people make is keeping too much in risky assets when they start withdrawing money. What they're trying to do is chase returns, but the approach can lead to issues in the future. So we don't want to chase those returns when you're getting into that retirement age. A good moderate mix of 50% stocks and 50% bonds has averaged roughly 8.2% per year, just about a point and a half less than the 80/20 portfolio, but with much smaller losses. The biggest 1 year drop for a balanced portfolio was about 22% compared to nearly 35% for a more
Hmm.
aggressive one.
Interesting. Yeah, those numbers really bear that out. And before we continue on this topic today, why don't you let our listeners know how they can schedule that no charge, no obligation consultation to ask questions or start building that financial strategy for themselves?
Yeah, we keep it very simple for everybody. Simply reach out to us by calling 715-355-4445 or visit our website, retirewithbushka.com. That's buska.com. Scheduling a consultation only takes a few minutes, and we're always, always happy to work around your schedule and just make sense for that time that works for you.
Sounds good, Logan. I know you love to hear from people, our listeners and viewers out there. You and the team at Bushka Wealth do such a great job for people here in the community. I really encourage our listeners to pick up the phone, give you a call, or visit the website. Now, let's jump right back into our topic today. This has been a good one.
Yeah, so we've talked about a number of things already, but protection becomes even more important as you move through retirement. That said, you don't want to swing too far toward bonds either, because there's another risk people may forget about: inflation. If inflation averages just around 2.7%, your purchasing power is cut in half over a typical 25 to 30-year retirement. And if inflation rises even more, like we had in 2022 in that summer, I don't think people are going to forget about that. But if inflation rises even more, 2% points higher, that happens in closer to 15 years. It really disrupts that retirement plan.
Wow. Yeah. And they call inflation the silent killer, which is scary. So
Yes.
it's eye opening. How do you protect against this?
Well, the article argues that stocks may still be a long-term hedge against inflation because they've historically outpaced rising prices over time. Research does suggest that keeping a portion of your portfolio in equities or stocks helps maintain that protection. On the fixed income side, some financial services professionals recommend adding inflation protected securities like a Series I savings bond or a Treasury inflation protection securities, which for short is called TIPS, TIPS. Having a portion of your bond holdings in those type of investments may help your income keep up with that scary inflation. I like that little sound effect you had there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I need a soundboard over here. And finally, don't forget about international diversification. This year is the first time in a long last 17 years where international markets have actually outperformed the US markets for the first time.
Hmm.
So, keeping some of your stocks in international holdings and choosing bond funds with some global exposure may help with some reducing some of that volatility that we're seeing this year and might be moving into next year too.
Yeah, true. And so ultimately it's not just about performance, it's about spreading things out to reduce the risk whenever you can then.
The old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yep.
Diversification is more than just a math formula. It's a mindset. It's about humility. It's admitting that none of us know exactly what's going to happen next. So we build a plan that can handle just about anything that comes at us.
Yeah. And so far you've talked about building that cash buffer, balancing your investments, but there's another part of the plan that you've mentioned in past shows that we can control day to day, and that is how we spend, right? Our spending habits.
That is exactly correct. And in fact, a recent survey found that about 2/3 of Americans between 18 and age 65 are already cutting back because of economic concerns. Things like dining out, online shopping, traveling are at the top of that list. And it's not just younger folks, because around 41% of retirees say they're tightening their belts too when it comes to that budget. And honestly, excuse me, that may be a smart move. When you're still working, every dollar you spend is a dollar you can save, whether that means adding to your cash reserves or bumping up your retirement contributions. If you've already retired, spending less means you don't have to pull as much from your portfolio during those down markets, which helps you save your savings, last longer.
Right, and that's what it's all about. I mean,
Well, I just think we should be building a nest egg.
right?
Marge has it right.
Well, and even people who feel financially secure right now might want to think about where they could trim a little, right?
It's all about having a plan ahead of time. Again, we
Yeah.
want to be proactive, not reactive. You don't need to make changes yet, but if things change because of a market fall or inflation rises, you'll already know where to scale back. We already have
Yeah.
a plan in place. That kind of flexibility helps you stay calm when everyone else is panicking. And really, what's interesting is the article points out that flexibility works both ways. When markets are strong, some financial service professionals actually encourage retirees to spend a little bit more, within reason, of course. We're not going out and buying yachts or anything, right? It's all about adapting your withdrawals to what the market's doing. Research has showed us that using guardrails, kind of like when you're bowling, at least for me, or upper and
You use guardrails when you bowl, Logan. Okay.
admitted, yeah, he caught me. I shouldn't even said anything.
That's awesome.
But you want to make sure you have upper and lower limits to how much you take out or withdraw from your portfolio. That way you can help your retirement savings last longer while it's still letting you enjoy the hobbies, the memories, the life that you've really worked your whole life to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, and you've already covered a lot. I mean, again, building the cash buffer, balancing portfolios, adjusting your spending. But there is one emotion, right, that may undo all that planning if you're not careful, and that's, what is that? Fear.
Fear.
Right.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Yeah, fear.
And lately, there's been a lot of concern out there and a lot of anxiety and fear, not just about the markets or inflation, but about Social Security.
Yeah.
According to a recent survey, again from Allianz for lifetime income, 58% of people who are worried that their benefits will eventually be reduced. And because of that, about a third of pre-retirees are now thinking about claiming early than they originally planned when it comes to Social Security.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I can understand some of that thinking because the headlines sound worrisome. But what are people actually doing there?
Well, we've or we've already kind of seen some of the numbers, and so far in 2025, initial Social Security claims are up about 13% to
Wow.
almost 3 million people.
Hmm.
That's more than triple the usual rate of increase. And the article goes on to explain the Urban Institute recently found many early Social Security claims are coming from higher earners, especially those age 62. Part of this trend may stem from fear and confusion, which recent staffing cuts and policy changes at the Social Security Administration, or SSA, haven't really helped that situation or that fear.
No, and it's so important.
God bless Social Security.
Yeah, I think it's huge. God bless Social Security,
God
right?
bless it.
Yeah. So, all the reports about the trust fund running out of money, the Social Security Trust Fund by 2033, we're hearing, they're
Mhm.
not calming anyone down either. We keep hearing about this.
Now, the fact of the matter is even since day one of Social Security starting, that was always kind of a fear: is how is this going to last? Is it going to last, right? And
Yeah.
now we have actual tangible dates on it, right? And that may fuel a lot more of that anxiety. Some of the latest reports project that if Congress doesn't act, the trust fund that pays retirees benefits could be depleted in 2033. At that point, Social Security would still pay out about 77% of the benefit. But I don't know about you. I don't want to take like a 23% hit to my income, especially when
No,
I'm on a fixed budget. So it's
exactly.
totally understandable about the shortfalls that people are worried about. But the key message really here is tough. Don't let fear drive your decision. Claiming early because you're scared can actually hurt you twice.
Here's another truth. Social Security is dying.
Hopefully not. I
Hopefully
think
not.
I think they will pass. There's many ways they could fix it and shore it up so it won't be depleted. But they haven't done it yet. They keep kicking that can down the road. But you said claiming early can hurt you twice. How so?
Well, first, if the system isn't fixed, everyone could face the same, as I mentioned, 23% reduction. But if you make a claim early, let's say at 62 instead of your full retirement age, you're already locking in a permanent cut of 20 to 30% of your benefits. So now you may be facing a double reduction, one from claiming early and one from the potential shortfall that's existing there.
Yeah. Well, and that's a big difference over time, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely adds up. And on the other hand, waiting to claim can pay off. Every year you delay beyond your full retirement age, the benefit increases by 8% per year up until age 70. So when someone waits until 70, could end up with 76% more per month than if they started at age 62. Now, that doesn't mean everybody should delay.
Mm.
Everyone has different circumstances, situations, and the best timing depends on your health, family situation, and of course, income needs and
Yeah.
sources.
Yeah. So if somebody still has income coming in, maybe from part-time work, or even they're still working full-time, or they have a pension or other steady sources, it can make delaying easier, right?
Yes, of course. Morningstar research referenced in the article that I mentioned before shows that if you can cover your living expenses without dipping into your portfolio, delaying benefits until 70 often leaves you in the strongest long-term position. But if waiting means you'd have to sell investments or drain savings just to get by, that may change the math. In those cases, starting at age, let's say 67, might actually make more sense than holding it out for 70. It's all about the balance, not the fear.
Hmm. That's a good point. And a confident retirement plan is one built on strategy, not panic. That's important, isn't it?
The goal is to make decisions based on what's best for you and your timeline, your lifestyle, and of course, that emotional side, your peace of mind.
Yeah, well said. So, for people who are still a few years away from retirement, or even those already in it, is there another strategy to help stretch those savings?
You got it. An option is to keep your hand in the workforce a little bit longer.
Hmm.
Working even a part-time job can make a huge difference. It helps you bridge the years before claiming Social Security, gives you more time to save, and shortens the number of years your nest egg needs to last.
Hmm. Your human capital can be one of your safest assets, right? Staying active from some form of work keeps that asset producing income. I like it.
Yeah. In fact, more people are choosing this path. The article shares information from the Center for Retirement Research, noting that both the average retirement age and the number of people over 65 still working have been steadily climbing. A Northwestern Mutual study, also cited in the article, found that nearly half of Gen Xers and about 30% of baby boomers plan to keep earning in retirement.
Mm.
And working longer doesn't have to mean grinding 40 hours a week and going through what we did our whole life to get to the retirement part. But more so, even a part-time job of freelance work can reduce how much you draw from your savings. And sometimes it buys you the freedom to delay Social Security and strengthen your long-term plan. Or, for example, I have one client that loves arts and crafts, so she gets a part-time job at a local craft store so she can get the
nice.
discounts.
Nice.
So it's kind of a double dip for her, right? So it may actually help ease anxiety to imagine how you'd handle a recession, which we sometimes refer to as a bear market, or inflation spikes. Beyond maintaining diversification, consider possible options like immediate annuity for a steady income and identifying spending trade-offs you'd make if rising costs or market losses reduce your available income.
Yeah. Another great point. I mean, obviously, you want to have and move more of your assets into safer options or principal protected options where your principal's protected so you can't lose as much. You still want to have some in growth. You can still carry some risk, but the money you're going to need day to day once you retire, you want to make sure that number one, it's accessible, but number two, it's still keeping up with inflation, yet not at danger of losing half of it, right? I mean, it's a fine
Exactly.
balance that you help people achieve, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's going beyond just what most people hear in movies or in the media when it relates
Yeah.
to those conservative or aggressive tools. We always think about stocks and bonds, right? There's so many other investment tools out there that can be utilized for specific strategy needs, and still have that principal protection and sometimes better growth rates.
Yeah.
So there's a lot available.
That's huge. Well, a lot of terrific insight on today's show, Logan. Is there anything else you want to add before we have to go today?
Well, I would just finish up with, if anyone has questions about your retirement plan or just want a little peace of mind about where things stand for you, stop by our website at retirewithbushka.com or call our office at 715-355-4445. We'd love to help you protect your savings and feel confident about the road ahead here.
All right. Well, that sounds really good. Give that phone number one more time.
715-355-4445.
All right, listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Financially Speaking with our amazing co-host, Logan. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Yep.